morning, my students. As you know that we have started with our chapter that is your applications of biotechnology, and the first application we finished in our last lecture, and today's lecture I am taking our second application. Right, first we discussed completely thoroughly the applications of biotechnology in agriculture. Today we will concentrate on medicine. Although this chapter is coming in your term 2 exam, so many subjective questions they are expected from this chapter. So let's see one by one that how biotechnology play its major role in medicinal industry. So first thing, there are three topics in this under this medicine. That is how first we have to discuss genetically engineered insulin. The second subtopic we will talk about gene therapy, and third we have to talk about the how we can detect a disease, that is molecular diagnosis. So one by one we will take all these topics into the consideration. So first, when we say that with the help of biotechnology, the scientists they made insulin in the laboratory. When you are making something in the laboratory, it means you have to you should have knowledge about that particular structure, by that particular thing. So insulin structure is very important for us to understand a structure of a normal insulin. As every one of us know that insulin, bachcho, who produce insulin? Insulin is produced by which cells of pancreas? Beta cells of islet of Langerhans of pancreas. But it is never synthesized as a mature and functional insulin. No, it is synthesized as a proinsulin. Proinsulin means inactive form of insulin. There are three polypeptide chains which are observed in this proinsulin. That is chain A, then there is chain C, and then there is a chain B. Right? So A and B, they are connected with the help of another polypeptide, another linker chain which is called C. So what is the job of C is actually, which is not mentioned in NCERT also correctly, that the job of C chain, why otherwise the C chain is observed in the proinsulin? Actually the job of C is it acts as a linker chain. It is to bring A and B chain closer. Why now we want to bring A and B closer? Because we have to form disulfide bonds in A and B chain, right? So that disulfide bond can be formed between A and B. So the job of C linker chain is bachcho to bring these A and B chains closer so that they can be linked with the help of disulfide bond. Now, the moment there is a formation of bond between A and B, the job of C is complete. So now no more need of C chain. Definitely you don't need C chain now. That time, the moment when disulfide bond is formed, there is a formation of active insulin. Now this insulin is known as active and mature and functional insulin, right? So sometimes there is a question which comes in mind that what is the need of C if you can regularly synthesize A and B? No, bacha. See, A chain has a particular amount of amino acid. There is 21 amino acid and B chain has 30 amino acid. So yes, in the natural way, C chain helps to bring only closer the A and B chains. But then scientists think that if they are making insulin, active insulin in the laboratory condition, then they don't need C, because it is not C which is helping to form disulfide bond in the artificial condition. They can form disulfide bond with the other way also. So what did they think? They isolated the sequence of polypeptide chain A, sequence of polypeptide B, right? And then they were allowed. Okay. So here they were allowed. First they took gene which is for coding for polypeptide A, and then they took gene B which was for polypeptide A and polypeptide B, right? And then gene that will undergo definitely transcription, mRNA will be formed. Then what they did, they added reverse transcriptase and they form complementary DNA. Now this gene, after, why, the question now will definitely come in mind that why do you need complementary DNA? Everything was getting ready, mRNA was getting ready, why do you need complementary DNA? Actually, when they were making insulin, they were using bacteria. And if you remember, bachcho, molecular basis of inheritance, we know that prokaryotes, now we are using prokaryotes. Prokaryotes, they do not have enzymes for splicing and ligation. And a eukaryotic mechanism. Now insulin you are making for humans, and according to eukaryotic mechanism, you need to have splicing mechanism also, you need to have ligase mechanism also, in which you can protect your 5' and 3', but this type of machinery, it is absent in prokaryotes. So you need to now find out the alternative. So to minimize any loss, directly they form the cDNA, and then this cDNA they introduced into the E. coli, right? So here this cDNA was for the A polypeptide, this cDNA was the B polypeptide. They used plasmid and they introduced this gene cDNA into the E. coli. This E. coli now synthesized A polypeptide, and this E. coli synthesized B polypeptide. So now your two polypeptide chain were ready. They were taken out from the E. coli. Now they were kept in conditions where they can form disulfide bond. So this is how a functional insulin was formed by genetic engineering method, and this insulin was named first time as a Humulin, and this was done by the American pharmaceutical company called Eli Lilly. They introduced this insulin in the market on July 5th 1983. But then few scientists who contribute in the structure of insulin, that was the Best, Banting and the Best. They isolated insulin from dog's pancreas. Then there was the Frederick Sanger, who gave actually the amino acid sequence of insulin. So because the sequencing technique, that was also found out by the Frederick Sanger. So Eli Lilly and Len Baxi later on, they introduced analog of human insulin, which is just an analogous of human insulin. They sold it in the market by the name Humolog. Reaction time is shorter than the humulin. So it was a better product. So this was our first property of application of biotechnology in medicine, that is the formation of genetically engineered insulin. Now, sometimes other important application of biotechnology, it is also used to obtain therapeutic agent like proteins with the therapeutic properties or pharmaceutical properties. They were developed by recombinant DNA technology. Now you must be asking examples like the human growth factor. If a child, like, it is suffering from the height related diseases, height related disorder, height related condition, I will say, I will not call it disorder, I will call it a condition, then this can be human growth hormone. It can be obtained by introducing HGH gene in the E. coli, and then it can be used for the treatment of dwarfism. Even artificial blood, it was prepared by introducing, only you need hemoglobin producing gene, and it was introduced into the pigs were used. So these were the few applications in the therapeutic agents. The major one which we have to concentrate is the gene therapy. First clinical gene therapy in 1990, it was given to a 4-year-old girl which was facing, she was having trouble with the ADA deficiency. It is ADA is adenosine deaminase. ADA usually होता है बच्चों because due to the deletion of gene which code for enzyme, and the name of the enzyme is adenosine deaminase. अगर किसी चाइल्ड में ये जीन ही डिलीट हो जाए, जीन ही ना आए, then that child will be suffering from ADA deficiency. And this enzyme, why this enzyme is so important? Because this enzyme is responsible for formation of B and T lymphocytes. This enzyme is responsible for the immunological system, immune system to function. So what was the treatment? First, it can be also treated by bone marrow transplantation. It can also be treated by enzyme replacement therapy, in which you can inject ADA into the patient, but they are not completely curative. The other thing is done with the gene therapy. In the gene therapy, what is done? Lymphocytes are collected. कहाँ से? From patient's blood. Right? So you have collected, what have you collected? Lymphocytes from patient's blood, and they are grown in a culture. Now, then they form cDNA into the laboratory. cDNA which code for, which is having which gene? ADA gene. And this ADA gene with the cDNA, it was introduced into this lymphocytes using a retroviral vector or infused into the patient. And but this is not a permanent cure. This should be periodically repeated, because as lymphocytes, they are not immortal. They live only for few weeks. Then what is the permanent cure? Only and only if ADA gene you remove from the marrow cells, it is introduced into the cells at very, very early embryonic stage into the child, only then it can be permanent cure. Once that child's complete formation, cellular formation, immunological formation is done, then it is difficult to give the permanent cure to that child. These all treatments, they are periodical based. Bone marrow transplantation, enzyme replacement, they are not the permanent cure. अगर permanent cure आपको चाहिए तो आप better है कि ये जो gene है take out that gene from the bone marrow cells and introduce them at the embryonic stage. Third is the molecular diagnosis that we will take into the picture tomorrow. We will take the molecular diagnosis in our tomorrow's lecture.